That right there was the worst crash I ever took on my BMX bike. I know a lot of you are thinking your worst crash was clearly the one where you broke your neck. I don't really see that as a crash fully. Yes, I did crash on my bike, but technically it was an accident. I wasn't even doing a trick. Like, I landed a trick, I was riding away from it. Just so happened to be a pile of grass that was there and I couldn't see the hole, and I ended up flipping the handlebars and breaking my neck. So I see that more as an accident, not as a crash. When I think about a crash, I think about me riding my bike, making a dumb decision to do a trick, and then paying the price by having a really, really hard crash. And back in 2006 was the double backflip crash. So today we're gonna be going over that clip and I'm gonna explain to you exactly what went wrong, but I'm also going to build the story for you. I'm gonna tell you exactly what led up to that crash. So let's get straight into it. So back in 2006, there was a competition series called the Dew Tour. Now the Dew Tour was pretty much the biggest competition of the year besides the X Games. But the difference between X Games and Dew Tour was Dew Tour had multiple stops. There was actually 5 different stops. X Games only had 1 stop. So the Dew Tour came around and that was a huge deal. And the truth is, at that time, that kind of changed BMX for the next few years, big time, because there was 5 different stops. If you won the Dew Tour, it was like $25,000 for first place. So you times that by 5, and then at the end of it, if you were the Dew Cup champion, if you were the person at the top of the points, you won $75,000. So it was a huge deal, and I was just happy that I was able to be a part of it. But I'm gonna break down the whole thing and tell you exactly like where I was mentally at that point and where BMX was mentally at that point, because like I said, it changed everything. And for one rider in particular, he really stepped up and he made a career out of the Dew Tour. And this was Daniel Durs, aka my arch nemesis. No, I actually love Daniel Durs, but the truth was we would go back and forth in competing through Dew Tours, through X Games, and we had a lot of fun over it. Well, at least I did. He ended up winning more times than I did, so I would assume that could only be a better time than I had. But besides that, let me tell you exactly what happened on this day in 2006 at the final stop of the Dew Tour. We were in Orlando, Florida. We all showed up there, and guess what? Here I am in second place in points. Daniel Durs was the first rider that looked at this series and looked at the opportunity and realized that if he made himself the best competition rider that he possibly could, he would have his best chance at winning. Yeah. Pretty simple math, right? He was the one that was starting to train his tricks, figure out exactly what tricks for which area of the course, and worked on designing runs. Here I am just hanging out being a dumb teenage kid. I didn't take it serious enough, and looking back at it, I wish I did, but that wasn't the case at all. But I still managed to get myself into second place in points. So going into this last stop, Daniel Durs had the lead, and he also came to the competition with some new tricks. The dude was doing perfect front flips over the spine. He was like twisting them around, and you can see the way that the bike is like carving and landing perfect into it. And then I'm showing up here, I have 0 new tricks at all. And then how am I about to beat this guy for the Dew Cup? It's really not looking good for me at this point. So I had to sit there and think outside the box. What are you going to do in this competition that is going to give you a chance to win? So I went over 2 different tricks that were in my head. There was the triple tail whip, which only one other person was doing at the time, which was James Foster. I was like, man, I could do double tail whips pretty good. Maybe I could just do an extra one, but I've never done one in the foam pit before. So I was thinking about doing that. But then the other trick snuck up on me. I was thinking about the double backflip. Now the double backflip for me at the time, I never successfully landed one. I tried one over a real ramp before that when I was like 15 years old. I don't have footage of it, but I'm just gonna break down the situation. I was able to do them into the foam pit. They came around pretty consistent, but I ripped really fast every time I would do it. Like, I didn't go up at all. I would just go rotating super, super fast. Now you can land them like that, but it's definitely not gonna be as consistent if you ride up the ramp and you get a good pop out of it. So there used to be a BMX mail order that was actually at my skate park called Staff Mail Order. The owner, Bob Pratt, bet me like $30 or something like that if I would try a double backflip over the box jump. Me being a dumb kid, I took the bet and I sent it, and while I was double backflipping, I just felt, I was like, this ain't right. So I ditched out the bike and I actually rotated all the way around and I slid down on my knees. Slid down, my bike went bouncing, I ended up bending my handlebars and I went right back into Staff, and I ended up giving the money back to him for a pair of handlebars. But I did survive my first double backflip attempt. But that was about 3 years ago and I hadn't done any since then. So in my head I was thinking, all right, a trick that I was able to do in the foam pit or a trick I've never done before. So it's like, let's do the double backflip. So I went into that competition thinking in my head, we're gonna do this run. You're gonna 360 double tail up over the spine. You're gonna come around, you're gonna do the double backflip, and that's the trick that's gonna put you over top of Daniel Durs, and you're gonna walk away with this Dew Cup. And that's exactly what went through my mind, and that's exactly what led us to this crash video today. And now I'm gonna break down this double backflip and show you exactly what went wrong and show you what I should have done differently and what I could have done differently. And I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened for the rest of the day. It was a crazy, crazy story. So let's get straight into this one. You can see me flying around. I pump into that curve wide with everything I've got. I'm coming up to that lip, and that's where it goes wrong, was right on the lip. I double backflipped so hard and I missed the pop. The pop was everything on the double backflip. The second I pumped into it, I just lost the rotation and I lost the form of my body being in the double backflip. It was like the spin overwhelmed me and I couldn't hold on to it. So you can see, instead of being balled up on my bike, ready to double backflip, my body just extended out, opened up, and I just went extremely slow, and it was just doomed from the get-go. But I had no idea what I was doing. I was in the air thinking, okay, this doesn't feel right, but maybe we can get it around, and that's when I went down face first. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a graphic video. I'm trying not to get this one taken off of YouTube or get this one flagged or anything like that, so I'm not going to dig too into it, but yes, those are my teeth that are flying across the floor right there. This is where it gets really, really crazy. A month before that, I was at my parents' skate park doing a session with all my friends at night. I went to go do a foot jam on the wall, like a wall ride foot jam. I ended up flipping the handlebars and I knocked out these two teeth, okay? They came completely out. My friends got them. We ended up going to the dentist. They ended up putting them back in my mouth and they wired them from behind. So I had a wire behind my teeth. And that was a month before that. And I just told myself, all right, if I can get through this competition, then I'm gonna start wearing a full face helmet. That was my whole game plan. And then I go and I knock out the other two teeth. The two teeth that got knocked out, they stayed in, but the other two teeth I knocked out. So now I messed up all four of my front teeth from two separate crashes within a month, which is absolutely insane. The rotation just threw me out. And now you can see my body's fully extended. I'm rotating around recklessly. At this point, I should have known this doesn't feel right. You can't rotate and land a trick with your body all the way out like that. I should have got rid of the trick. I should have came up with a bail, put my shoulder out, turned sideways for safety reasons, but I stayed on, and then you can see my front wheel hit. By the time my front wheel hit, it was game over. I was already just going face first to the ground, and now I did break my neck in 2016. I could have done it in 2006 right here, and I'm so glad, so grateful that that didn't happen to me. Like, it was so close to happening. That was such a reckless move, such a dangerous, dumb move, and I'm very embarrassed about this clip. But here I am, all these years later, I'm able to talk about it because in an attempt of having people learn from this right here. Because if a trick doesn't feel right, if you have a pit in your stomach of like, you know what, this isn't a good idea, don't do the trick, okay? That's your body telling you, listen, you're not ready for this. You're probably not gonna land this trick right now. So if you have that gut feeling, go with it, all right? Abort that trick. Don't even try it, okay? Just learn from my mistakes, I'm telling you. But as you can see, I went face first on the ground, but I didn't completely go out. You can see I get up afterwards and I actually signal to the crowd that everything's okay. I have zero recollection of this. I have a complete loss of time from that double backflip, and then I didn't actually get the time back for at least, I'm gonna say about 20 minutes afterward. That was a really, really scary thing. I remember being really confused, and I'm sitting there, I could feel I have no teeth, the doctor's there trying to help me out, and it all started slowly coming back to me about what happened, and there's actually a pretty crazy story. And instead of continuing on this one, I'm actually going to put a video at the end of this video where I sat down with my longtime sponsor Vans, and they actually did a hilarious animation of this whole story. I'm telling you, it is so worth it. I'm gonna put the video at the end. I'm also gonna put it in the description of this one. You have to make sure you go watch this one. It is pretty epic, and it completely tells that whole story right there. But the real moral of the story is, in BMX, you cannot rush yourself in doing tricks, okay? If you're not capable of that trick, if you've never done it before, if you're doubting yourself doing tricks, you should never talk yourself into sending that trick, all right? Don't go against your gut. If you have a feeling that the trick's not gonna work, go with your gut, okay? Do not do the trick. It's not worth it. You live to ride another day. And I tried to do it pretty much for money, right? I saw the opportunity to get a Duke Cup, get all this money, I sent it, and it wasn't worth it at all. It ended up costing me money in the long run, that is for sure. Just to let you know, Daniel Durs ended up winning that competition, became the Dew Tour champion. He ended up having a long, awesome career based off of what he learned that year. He ended up being a dominant rider in BMX Park. He ended up just getting a silver medal in the Olympics recently. It's pretty amazing to see how far Daniel's career has come over the years, and I'm super proud that I got to battle him through my career. But at the same time, I wish I would have took it more serious, and I wish I would have brought a little bit more of my A game to the rest of those things. It's one of those should have, would have, could have's, and I'm very proud of the career that I had in BMX. BMX. So once again, I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned something from this video. So remember to stay safe on your BMX bike, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.